Now, the clocks went back this weekend, which of course means our evenings become darker much earlier. And journalist Caitlin Moran has referenced this as the start of women staying in season and has suggested that as women, we have to pack everything we usually do in daylight hours into things like exercising outside out of fear for our safety. It's an interesting concept. I'm guessing a lot of people might feel that way, Janet, but do you start feeling a bit uneasy when it's sort of darker nights? I mean, you love getting out, you're a very sociable person, you're out all of the time. Do you feel the difference?
Well, when I read Caitlin's article, I was really cross because I feel that she's a very influential writer. She's written great books, she writes a great column on Saturdays, and I just felt, although she said in the column, if you feel confident enough to go out at night, I salute you. But the tone of the column was more or less saying, oh, well, winter's come, get back under the duvet, because, because she felt fearful about going out after dark. And I just think that that's just not good enough. I mean, the fact of the matter is that crime figures have gone down by 18% in the year to last March. The figures that have gone up are for mugging. And mugging's gone up tremendously. And that happens during the day and not so much in the evening. What we've seen a huge rise in is people having their phones or their handbags or their jewellery snatched from them during the day. And what I want women to do is to be sensible, to be confident. And obviously, if you go, home at night, look around you and take practical steps to make sure that you do get home safely. But what really annoyed me about her column was that a lot of women don't have the choice. They're working shifts, they're finishing work, 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, it's dark, they've got to go home in the dark. They don't have the option of, not going out, they've got to get home. And I feel, I feel for those women, and I don't think they should be scared. There used to be something called Reclaim the Streets, and I want to claim women, we own the streets as much as men do. And I'm not saying take a risk, I'm just saying be careful.
Yeah, I've been a victim, so I've been that woman that's, that I did get jumped in Brixton. And so I completely understand victims who don't feel empowered enough to do that, and the darker nights will remind them, will be triggering for them for incidents that may have happened in their lives, and I completely support that. But in my situation, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go out. I didn't feel social. I didn't feel safe. But my partner at the time was like, why don't you just try something that makes you feel a bit more empowered within yourself? So I did, and I went and did kickboxing. That's when I started my training. But in learning self-defence, not that I think, oh, I'm going to use that and I'm going to go tackle somebody. That's not the point. The point was making me feel more confident and in how I carried myself. So now if I'm out, I'm not courting trouble, that's not what I'm saying, but I do definitely, I would say, exude the confidence. And I find that, people will, instead of coming to me, they'll go to someone that looks more vulnerable, and I don't feel vulnerable anymore. But that's about taking charge of that and being more confident, and also making really good decisions, and not feeling silly for doing certain things. Like, sometimes women feel like, oh, if I, like we were saying earlier, pretend that I'm talking on the phone to somebody. At the end of the day, whatever makes you feel safer. I always walk with my keys pointed out if I'm walking out, late at night, things like that. I do look before I open the door, just little sensible, practical steps that you can take to make yourself feel safer.
Yeah, but I would certainly, if the dog needs walked at night time at this stage now, and say Frank were at home, I'd make him do it and not me, just because I think I feel a little bit uneasy. And maybe it's just being in a big city. I don't think I'd feel like that if I was back home. When I say back home, I mean Northern Ireland.
But it's what neighbourhood you live in as well.
That's exactly what I mean.
It's what you're surrounded.
Absolutely. And there's definitely little dark clusters of spaces around where I live. And I would purposely feel that I'm going to walk the longer way to feel safe. I wouldn't, if it means a shortcut to get home, I wouldn't do the shortcut because it's the darker way. And you can't help but just feel a bit uneasy. But sadly, you just don't know. And it's an awful way to be. And it's unfortunate, rather than sort of us, as you say, putting the duvet over us and kind of live in winter like that, we all collectively all need to get together to create a safer space for us to live in, where we can feel like we can just walk the dog at whatever time. How dare anyone make us feel like we can't?
Well, that's exactly right. Why should someone we don't know, some faceless individual, make us feel that we can't walk our dog or go for a jog after 6 o'clock at night? It's outrageous. And the other thing is that on public transport, in London in particular, there's CCTV everywhere. It's in every carriage, it's on every platform. And, you know, they've really addressed personal safety. I think the other thing to keep in mind is that if you walk around holding a phone in front of your face at any time of the day or night, you're asking for trouble. If you've got an expensive handbag or any nice handbag outside your coat at night, it's not a sensible thing to do. And they're just small practical things. But what I don't want to see is women shrinking into themselves. It's everything I've campaigned against all my life. And it really bothers me if someone as influential as Caitlin Moran is saying that's how she feels.
It is. It's very unfortunate. We asked you at home, do you feel more unsafe walking out alone sort of in winter months? 82% of those that got in touch said yes, they do. So that is a huge proportion of people feeling different because of the time of the year, which is, as you say, we've got to, in some way, pull this back and own it.